When someone pulls out a camera at a gathering, the room often splits into two factions. Most people lean in and wait for the flash, but for a specific group, that same moment triggers an immediate physical discomfort. While the group crowds into the frame, one person might execute an active retreat, ducking, turning away, or physically blocking the lens. In a culture that prioritizes documentation, we tend to assume this avoidance is a symptom of low self-esteem, a form of vanity where a person is hyper-focused on their own perceived flaws. This camera shyness is often treated as a quirk that needs fixing, something that can be solved with a better angle or more flattering lighting. But the urge to dodge the lens is a psychological reflex. It stems from the exact way the brain processes human identity, biological memory, and the invisible weight of modern social standards.
On a daily basis, the brain processes thousands of curated, digitally altered faces across social feeds and advertisements. This has become the baseline for how we perceive human appearance. In social comparison theory, a scale weighs a single unfiltered reality against massive clusters of manufactured standards, judging the reality incorrect. Avoiding cameras is self-protection. Without photographs, there's no hard proof of the gap between how one looks and thinks they should look. Other people avoid the camera not because they dislike their appearance, but because they dislike the specific type of attention the camera demands. Pointing a lens at someone forces them to become the center of focus. For introverts or those with social anxiety, the camera acts as a microscope, artificially amplifying the feeling of being watched. In a culture that rewards extroversion, dodging the frame is a defense mechanism. It's less about vanity and more about the psychological dread of being made vulnerable in the spotlight. For some, the aversion to photos is linked to depersonalization, a psychological state where a person feels detached from their own identity, as if they are observing their life from the outside. Specifically for those processing trauma or depression, seeing a photograph of themselves can trigger an unsettling feeling. They may not recognize the person in the image as being them, making the photo feel like a picture of a stranger. Beyond the internal sense of self, there is the mechanical nature of the medium. A photograph captures and freezes a single fraction of a second. In real life, we have the agency to adjust our posture and change our expressions as we move. A photograph removes that agency, trapping the subject in one static angle that they can no longer control. This creates a modern anxiety of permanence. A frozen moment can be tagged, shared across social networks, and archived by others, meaning the subject no longer has the final say in how they are portrayed or remembered. At this level, stepping away from the lens is a way of maintaining boundaries. It is a rejection of the discomfort that comes when an external observer gets to define a person's digital identity. While dodging the camera is often framed through the lens of anxiety, it is frequently a byproduct of how a person chooses to experience the world. Research shows capturing a moment outsources memory to the device, leading to less vivid recall as the brain relies on digital files. But people who stay present without a phone encode memories deeply, ensuring a robust biological record of the event. This refusal to document can be a sign of prioritizing authenticity over performance. It suggests the person values the actual experience more than the evidence of having had it. If the avoidance is rooted in fear, it may be something to explore, but if it stems from a lack of need for external validation, it is a form of self-assurance. Understanding the why behind the cringe changes the perspective. It reveals that the validity of a lived experience and the worth of the person living it is not measured in pixels.